I never thought I'd say this, but I used to love my job. It wasn't glamorous, just a project manager at a mid-sized tech company, but it paid the bills, and I was proud of what I did. That all changed when Carla took over as our department head. From day one, she made it clear she wasn't there to make friends. But what started as tough leadership quickly spiraled into toxic abuse. I became her favorite punching bag. Public berating sessions and meetings, impossible deadlines, and every minor mistake became a catastrophe. She even took credit for my work in front of the executives, twice. Yet, no matter how hard I worked or how thick my skin became, she always found a way to break me down. The final straw came during a quarterly performance review in front of the entire team. "Honestly, it's a miracle you've made it this far," Carla said, arms crossed, glaring at me. "Your attention to detail is embarrassing. The only reason you haven't been fired is because no one else is desperate enough to take your position." I felt the blood drain from my face. Laughter echoed around the room as she sneered at me, basking in my humiliation. I should have kept my head down, but something inside me snapped. "I'll show you who's desperate," I whispered, too quietly for anyone else to hear, but I meant it. That night, after a long sleepless evening spent fuming, I decided I wasn't going to let Carla get away with this. Not anymore. I didn't go in the next day just to survive another round of humiliation. No, this time I had a plan. If Carla was going to treat me like dirt, I'd dig up something even filthier on her. She was arrogant, which usually meant there were skeletons rattling in her closet. For the next few days, I started small. I combed through her LinkedIn profile, searched her name online, and scanned through every email and report I had access to. But the surface showed nothing. No signs of scandal, no lawsuits, not even a bad review from a former employee. If anything, Carla had polished her public image to a mirror shine. Frustrated but not willing to give up, I expanded my search. Late one night, I stumbled across something odd. An old business listing registered to Carla in another city. It was a tech startup she founded years ago, called Onyx Solutions. But here's the kicker. It had gone bankrupt after just 1 year, owing thousands to investors. I smelled blood. The next day, I quietly asked some industry contacts about Onyx Solutions. Most of them had never heard of it. But one person, an ex-investor named Daniel, remembered it all too well, and he was more than happy to talk. "Carla ruined us," Daniel said over the phone, his voice tight with bitterness. "She took investor money, promised us the moon, and then just walked away. We never saw a dime." "But wasn't she held accountable?" I asked. "She blamed everything on a technical failure. It was total nonsense. She disappeared, and so did the money." As soon as I hung up, I felt the pieces click together. Carla had defrauded her investors, but instead of facing the fallout, she'd slithered into a new job with a clean slate and a new batch of victims. This wasn't just a minor scandal. If I could prove her fraud, Carla's entire career would be over, and I wasn't just going to prove it. I was going to expose her in a way she'd never see coming. I knew I couldn't confront Carla directly. She'd bury me before I got the chance. So I got creative. If she'd used Onyx Solutions to commit fraud, she must have left a paper trail behind, bank records, false invoices, or misappropriated funds. I just needed access to her personal data. That's where Greg came in. Greg worked in IT and hated Carla almost as much as I did. He owed me a favor after I covered for him during a system crash a few months back. With a bit of coaxing and a promise of free drinks for a month, Greg agreed to help me out. Together, we managed to gain access to Carla's old email account, the one she hadn't used in years but never properly deleted. And there, tucked away in an archived folder, we found the smoking gun, emails between Carla and several investors. In them, she promised fake development milestones, fabricated results, and quietly funneled money into a personal offshore account. It was everything I needed. I printed the emails, cross-referenced the transactions, and compiled a neat little package of evidence. But I wasn't going to the police just yet. I had one last card to play, a public one. The following week, Carla scheduled another department-wide meeting to gloat about her recent successes. The timing couldn't have been more perfect. At the meeting, Carla strutted to the front of the room, radiating smug confidence. She launched into another condescending speech, boasting about a critical new contract she secured, thanks to her unmatched leadership. But this time, I was ready. "Excuse me, Carla," I interrupted, standing up. "Before you continue, I think the team deserves to know something about your previous leadership experience, specifically your time at Onyx Solutions." Her face froze. The name hit her like a slap. "Sit down, this isn't," she started, but I was already pulling out the stack of emails. "I've gathered some interesting documents," I said, raising the evidence high for the room to see. Emails detailing how you defrauded your investors and funneled company money into a private offshore account. The room went dead silent. Carla's complexion turned an ashen gray. You have no idea what you're talking about, she hissed. Oh, I think I do. I stepped closer, locking eyes with her. And I've already sent this to corporate. I believe the authorities will be very interested too. Carla tried to maintain her composure, but it was too late. Her power, her arrogance, it all crumbled before my eyes. The fallout was swift. Carla was fired within 48 hours, and a full investigation was launched into her activities at Onyx Solutions. She was arrested a month later for fraud and embezzlement. The best part? Corporate recognized my role in exposing her crimes. They not only promoted me, but gave me a generous bonus as a reward for my dedication to the company's integrity. I won't lie, there were moments when I doubted if it was worth the risk, but seeing Carla's smug grin wiped off her face was the sweetest victory I've ever tasted. Now, I walk into work with my head held high, knowing I stood up for myself and got justice. And the best part? I've started mentoring others who are dealing with toxic bosses, showing them how to fight back the right way, because no one should have to suffer in silence. And sometimes, the only way to win is to expose the truth. Thanks so much for watching. I'd love to hear your thoughts about this story, and share your ideas for future videos. See you in the next video.